Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Viva Natural Health podcast. Today, we're taking it back to basics on the subject of manifestation, something near and dear to my heart, something that I didn't even know existed a few years ago, and now it's one of my biggest passions. And I'm so excited to share with you the three simple steps to manifestation because there are a million and one ways to teach these practices, but in my opinion, this is the most easy to understand, the most simplified, and it's just three steps. Each step has a little bit of information for each one, but for those who don't know what manifestation is, it's something that we are always doing, whether you're conscious or not. But the goal is to be conscious of what we are manifesting because that could lead us to reach our goals and live our dream lives. And who doesn't want that? A simple explanation or definition for manifestation, if you have no idea what this is, you're like me several years ago, like, what is this girl talking about? Manifestation is bringing specific desires, goals, or outcomes into reality through focused thought, belief, and actions. So turning thoughts into physical things. So you can manifest your dream relationship, you can manifest your body healing of physical ailments, new milestones in your business, an improved financial situation and abundance. Once you live by these practices in real life and see them work and see the magic, you really cannot ever go back. I have manifested so many things over the years, and I do feel like I'm getting pretty good at it each time because when you see the evidence and how it works out, how everything always works out so good, it really reduces the resistance and it improves the trust in not only the process but yourself as well, because you are a powerful manifester. Everyone has this ability, it's just whether you are tapping into this tool. So, as I said, many people are unconsciously manifesting by choosing to focus on the worst case scenarios. They have the same thoughts on repeat every single day, and they're just unaware of their thoughts, and a lot of the thoughts are limiting. The same thoughts lead to the same choices, which then lead to the same behaviors, which lead to the same emotions, which lead to the same predictable future. This is something that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. And nothing changes unless you change. Your outer world, so your current reality, is a reflection of your inner world and your past thoughts, beliefs, actions, etc. So, in order to see and experience something different, we need to be something different. We need to think something different. We need to do different things. So here are the three steps to manifestation. You might have heard of the ask, believe, and receive before, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper into each. I definitely didn't come up with this concept. It is a big thing in the manifestation world. So ask is to get clear, get specific on what exactly is that you want. This works on two levels. If you are more of the sciencey, logical, you need research to back it up, then maybe look into the reticular activating system part of the brain because this is what it does. Our brain and our subconscious loves direction. It loves knowing where you want to head. Imagine the GPS on a cruise ship. If you just set sail and just think, oh, I'll just see how it goes, I'll take it day by day, you could end up in a really terrible place. Whereas if you know what you want and you're clear on that, your brain then deletes, generalizes, distorts, basically clears a lot of information that it doesn't see relevant because we get bombarded by so many bits of information every second and we just filter out what our brain doesn't think is relevant, what's not important to us. And that's why you typically don't see all of the baby stores or baby soft plays in your area until you are pregnant or you have kids or a family member has a kid and you're trying to find activities for them to do. Those things have always been there, but it's now become something that's important to you. Or you buy a new car, or you're thinking of buying a new car, and then you start to see that same car everywhere on the road. It's not that there's more of those cars, it's that your brain is now paying attention because you've told it it's important. Some people say that they don't actually know what they want, but you typically do. Even if it's not a specific vision, it's often a feeling, and the feeling can be the most important thing, actually. Some people struggle with actually visualizing. That is a skill that you can work on, but there is a condition where people just don't see images in their mind. Mine's not super clear. It's not like I'm seeing a HD movie in my mind, but I can see something and it strengthens the more that you do it. But if you're one of those people, forgot the name of the condition, but they actually can't do that, then focusing on the feeling is still really important. So at a scientific brain level, the reticular activating system part of the brain, if you tell it that you want to work at this job in this specific role, or if you want to run a half marathon, or you want to fall pregnant and feel amazing and have your first child, you want to fall in love, meet your soulmate, get married, if you can be as specific as possible. And people often focus on what they don't want. Here we want to focus on what we do want. So people say, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want to have acne anymore, I don't want to be single, I don't want to feel this crap. Instead, what do you want then? Just flip that narrative and start to focus on that instead, because another thing that the brain doesn't do, the subconscious doesn't hear the negations, the don'ts. If you say, don't think about a purple elephant, it's the first thing that you think of. It's the same with the brain. It doesn't hear the negations in that sentence. So focus on what you do want. If you can get as specific as possible, that's even better. On a on an energetic, spiritual frequency level, this is important because you want to tap into the frequency and the same vibration that that desire is offering. Imagine a radio. At all times, there's hundreds of different radio channels out there, and we can tap into that at any moment. So we could, in the UK, I forgot, I don't really listen to radio anymore, but 102.0, maybe that's the charts, the pop music, and it's still floating around at any minute, but I just need to tune my frequency to that in order to experience it and hear it. Or if I want country music or rock music, I just need to tune in, and then I'm going to experience that and I'm going to get that in current time. So on an energetic level, we need to be vibrating at the same frequency as our desire. For example, if you are manifesting in love, we first need to feel love internally, often for ourselves, but in other ways too. Is there any other things that you can feel love for instead of focusing on the lack, what you don't have, the partner that you don't have? Can you spend more time with your pet or your niece or nephew or your family members? Can you find love for a hobby? Can you pour into some of your passions and your work? And then you're going to be vibrating on the same frequency. If you've ever heard of the guitar analogy with this, it's really cool because if you were to put two guitars side by side and you were to play an A string on one of them, the A string on the second guitar, without you touching it, would start to vibrate. And they have other things where things just go in sync. If you've seen the way that nature moves, it often is just this unexplainable synchronization that happens. The way that the birds fly in the sky, the way that they know what to do, we have the same power within us. And getting in alignment and really getting clear on what you want is just going to more laser focus, attract that into your life. So in the last episode, I think it was the meditation episode, I shared about the quantum field, the 5D. Please listen to that for more information. But as an overview, there are unlimited potentials out there in the quantum field, which is the field of energy that we can't see, but it is very, very real. We are made of energy. Everything is 99.999% energy, so we need to be tapping into this. And the version of you who is in love, who is heartbroken, who is healthy, who is sick, who is rich, who is poor, there's infinite potentials out there in the quantum field, but we can laser focus on the ones that we want, and that is way more likely to manifest when you do some of these other steps as well than if you go out there and you have no plan. You are just gonna, end up a little bit lost. So it can change over time. It doesn't have to be what you are desiring now is what you always want. It can change, but first we need to get clear. Imagine it as being like ordering at a restaurant or ordering something on Amazon. We are just declaring, and this could be through writing it could be speaking it could honestly be thinking it, whatever you resonate most with, but you want to be in that energy. I want this at the restaurant with this side, and can I have this for a drink, this dessert? And then you kind of just sit back. These are the next two steps. You just believe, you detach, and you just get ready to receive. It can be as simple as that with manifestation or ordering at Amazon. It might sometimes be a bit delayed. It might come in a box that's a little bit different than you thought it was going to come in, but it's always going to come. It might have taken a little bit of a redirection. It might look a little bit different in real life, but you're still going to get the thing. So we tell the universe what we want. And visualization here can be really important. The brain doesn't know the difference between something real and something vividly imagined with an elevated emotion. That can be the superpower. You want to feel as if you already have it, not just the moment that it comes in. So not just you giving birth if you want to fall pregnant, not just you meeting your soulmate for the first time and having this instant connection or getting married. It can be one of those big moments, definitely. But I also recommend visualizing and having this mental, this like little movie going on that you can tap into any moment of a more casual, mundane moment too. So with a relationship, it could be you and your partner on the weekend driving to IKEA. It could be with the pregnancy and motherhood example, you pushing your baby in the pram around the park. And you want to be looking out through your own eyes in this visualization, not you looking at yourself, if that makes sense. So yeah, have a few little videos that you can experience. And how cool is it that we can have these visions? And we don't sometimes think about it. If I just say, imagine your future self, a vision could come to mind. And how is that there? How is it that we all have our own individual dreams and desires, and these images just come to mind straight away? That's because those things are meant for us. In some other reality, it is already happening, it has already happened, and it's just destined for us. That's why one person, the dream in life is to be a baker, another one's is to be a pop star, another one is to be a mum of 6 and live on a farm, and they're all amazing, and it's what those people are meant to be doing. So visualization is absolutely key. Pair that with an elevated emotion, feeling the feelings as if you already had it. Gratitude, excitement, joy, peace, love, all of those good things. They're often the highest vibrations as well, the highest frequencies. And that is just going to attract more of those things that are in alignment. If we are constantly living in low frequency emotions and energies like fear, anxiety, shame, judgment, then we're going to be attracting more of those into our lives. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while now, you've probably heard me talking about the importance of minerals. I know that you're trying to balance your hormones, detox your liver, heal your gut, but minerals are actually key for these things to happen. They really are the spark plugs of the body. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that unless you're working on mineral balancing, you're probably not going to see results when it comes to things like energy, skin, digestion, and period problems. So many of us are mineral deficient or imbalanced these days due to soil depletion, chronic stress, poor gut health, medication usage, and big mistakes that I see clients making is supplementing in the wrong way and following intense healing practices. Trying to DIY your health with self-supplementation, restricted diets, and crazy detoxes can actually throw your mineral levels out of whack. It's important to know which specific minerals you have to determine the treatment that you need, and that's exactly why I created my mineral balancing course, I'm Balanced, so that you can get your hands on my favorite functional lab test, the hair tissue mineral analysis. Yes, this can be done from anywhere in the world. Here's what you get in this program. 1 complimentary HTMA test, over 8 hours of video education, helping you to understand your unique lab results and exactly what you need to do to balance things naturally. Plus the tools to support you and your family long term with a deeper understanding of minerals. All this is just £447, including the lab test. Then long term, you can just purchase additional tests for yourself and your loved ones, because this is a test that I recommend everyone does 1 to 2 times a year to make sure you're staying as balanced as possible. You could get started today with your hair sample and have answers within a few weeks once the results come back. Get instant access to the course material by clicking the link in the episode show notes. So number 2 is to then believe. And you do want to get to the place where you just feel like it's done. It's done. And if you've ever tried it on something small, it can be a lot easier. I heard someone use this example, then I tried it for myself and it actually worked. So she said that she ordered some furniture, kitchen table or sofa or something when she'd moved into a new place, and it said on the shipping that it was going to take about 6 weeks. And she was like, no, I need it this week. And it just kept saying every day she would look, and she just made a decision. She was like, it's going to be here by Friday that week, the first week. And she just let go. And even on the day, on Friday in the morning, she checked and it was still 6 weeks away. And then she was just like, oh, well, she was very detached from it, because at the end of the day, like, it's not the worst thing in the world and it's just an easy thing to play with and experiment with. And she said she got home that day and it was being delivered at the front of her house on the Friday. And then I tried it with an Amazon parcel. It said that it was going to come the next week. And I was like, no, I want it tomorrow. And it came the next day. So really cool. Have a play around with some lower stake things, and then your confidence will start to grow when you see how cool this is. So if you can get to the place easily where you have that confidence and you just think it's done, and I know and I trust, amazing. This is less common. It depends on how big the manifestation is for you. But if you can fully believe that your soulmate is out there and you're going to meet them, then you don't necessarily have to keep up with all of these daily practices that I'm going to be talking about. Or if you just have that belief now that you're going to heal and you're going to have that clear skin and you're going to have the pregnancy and the healthy gut and the thriving energy and you're going to be back at the gym, then you've kind of achieved step 2 and you don't really need to go any further. If not, though, it can be quite common for us to go in waves or us to have these doubts in the process or go through bad days where you're like, why is it not here yet? And you're just not in a good place. If that's the case, just know that that's completely normal and quite common. And this is where some of these tools and practices can come in to keep you in the belief, the faith, the frequency, the energy. These are tools like visualization again, that those scenes that you first did, you could do them once and they can be effective, or you could tap into them every single day. And when you're actually in those visualizations, you feel like it's happening. Like, I've seen myself getting proposed to, getting married, having my babies, and I can be in that visualization for 10 minutes every day if I wanted to, and just really enjoy it and act like that's happening now. So if that's not something that you're doing and you struggle to keep up that faith in the process, then tapping in every day. Key times are first thing in the morning and before bed, because our subconscious is more malleable and wide open during this time as we're coming out or going into sleep. But usually there are some limiting beliefs in there, and our brain can often sabotage us. Our subconscious wants to keep us in the familiar, the comfort zone, and if you haven't received your manifestation and you've done all of the things and you're like, where is it? For one, you're not in the place of trust and surrender, so maybe work on that. But there could be a hidden block, a hidden advantage. It could be that your brain thinks that something bad will happen when you get your manifestation. Or it could be that your brain thinks there's a benefit to not having the manifestation. These can be similar things, but For example, if you were to get in your dream relationship, which you consciously think you really, really want, you would do anything for, you're desperate for, but subconsciously they're called our blocks and our shadows because we can't see them clearly, and we just think that we just listen to our conscious mind and we don't dig deeper. So maybe explore what bad thing might happen if we do get it, what good thing is happening that I might lose if I do get this manifestation. So if you get in your dream relationship, you might be fearful deep down that you won't have as much time for yourself. If you have a baby and you fall pregnant after years of struggling with your fertility, it could be that you're actually afraid of messing it up, or again, not having time for yourself, or reliving some of your childhood mother-daughter, mother-child patterns that were passed on to you. You're afraid of acting in a similar way to your mum. It could be that you are worried about how it's going to impact your relationships. If you finally lose the weight and clear up your skin, are you actually deep down a little bit worried about the attention that you're going to get? Or if you heal your chronic fatigue and finally heal your body, are you a little bit afraid that you are too far behind in work and won't have the support and the safety of your family looking after you anymore? There's so many different options. There could be more than one. There could be multiple beliefs or side benefits of staying stuck where you are. So this requires going deeper, some shadow work, some inner work. Journaling can be really helpful, but just know this is really common and isn't something that's very conscious. It's something that you have to provoke and dig deeper into. And yeah, we want to get to the place where we are just in full trust. It might waver. That's when we can tap into the journaling, the meditations, the visualization, but it's not necessary that you do that. You don't have to do your scripting every day. You don't need to do 30 minutes of visualization every single day if you can get to the point where you know it's a done deal. So that is number two, believe. Last but not least, number three is to receive, to detach, to let go, and to trust that it is coming, like you do when you place the order on Amazon, when you put in the order at the restaurant with the waitress, and you just sit back and chat with your friend and enjoy the moment. You're not pestering her every 5 minutes. Where is it? Does the chef really know how to cook it how I like it? You're not calling up Amazon 2 minutes after you put in the order, if it's something that you really like and are desperate for, but we need to let the how and the when, we need to leave that up to the universe or God, whatever you believe in, because it can happen in ways that we least expect. And sometimes we really think that we want something right now, but think back to your past and all of the times that you were desperate for a job and it didn't work out, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad that that didn't happen. Or a relationship you got broken up with and you were devastated and heartbroken, but you then found your dream person. Everyone has these stories in their life and these silver linings that we only see in hindsight. So look into that for yourself and maybe just remind yourself more frequently. Keep a list on your phone of examples of when this has happened. Think to even when you met your current partner or your last partner, your best friend, how you got the job that you currently have. It wasn't most likely in your control, and it can be really random. Like one of my friends now, I met her at a Pilates class. She was the teacher, and we just became friends. Other ones I met at school, and I've met through friends of friends, and I wasn't actively trying. It just happened. It was when I was living my life and just looking after myself, and amazing things can come in because there's also a lot of things that are just meant to happen anyway, and us trying to hyper control just gets in the way. The other thing that we want to do is align with the vibration and the frequency of already having that thing. We want to be grateful for the manifestation before we see it in front of us, before we see it in our 3D reality. Dr. Joe Dispenza again talks about going from cause and effect. So I will feel happy when this happens to me, or I will feel abundant when my bank account hits six figures. I will feel enough and loved and happy when I'm in my dream relationship. That's cause and effect. He says to switch it to causing an effect, and that is by doing it the other way around. Feeling happy and abundant and loved in other ways and in as many ways as possible, feeling those feelings now, that will call in the first thing, the relationship, the financial abundance, the dream job. And if you practice gratitude, if you thank the universe, again, God, etc., for giving you the manifestation before you see it, this is the ultimate state of receivership. So it's one of the highest vibrations out there. So if you can feel gratitude for your healed body, for your future child, for your future life, feel that now. That is one of the key things. In the manifestation world, it can get a bad rap because people think it's just positive thinking and everyone's just like sat around waiting and praying and hoping for the dream partner to just show up at the front door. And that can absolutely happen. You might have a really hot FedEx guy, and that's great, but there's also the law. So there's a law of attraction, which is just putting the desire out there and there's first two steps. But then there is also the law of action. There's 12 universal laws. So the law of action is another key one. You can't just sit around waiting and wishing, and that is how it can not work. The other thing that you need to do is take inspired action. I love the quote, when you pray, move your feet, because that just shows that you are, yeah, putting the desire out there, but you're also gonna follow through and do your part as well. It's this co-creation process with the universe. And this is you listening to your intuition, following the nudges from the universe or your gut instincts. And it could be really small stuff like go and talk to that person, go here, don't do that, do this, drive this way home. I think you should, yeah, book this holiday, go on this trip. Listen to more of those things because that is usually the little breadcrumbs that lead you to the right paths. Do more of what you love, be more of your authentic self, enjoy life. Just try and remain in those high frequency emotions. Don't hyperfixate on your manifestation because that shows you haven't got to the point of detachment. And if you find yourself constantly checking or like, I don't care, I don't care, and then you're just like glancing over, you're still checking your bank account, you're still out there looking for your husband, you're still getting stressed about your health. There's going to be moments, absolutely, but you can just say it's done. That will hopefully just calm it down and bring you back. And if you need to do a 10-15 minute practice, do some tapping, do some journaling, um, listen to an inspiring podcast, put one of these episodes on, save this episode so you can listen back to it. But you, yeah, you want to get to that point where you can just think it's done. I don't need to stress. Refer back to your list of other manifestations that you've had, which will be growing over time now that you're a conscious manifester. But those are the three steps. You can really use this in so many ways. And like I said, I now that I know this stuff and have witnessed it across all areas of my life, work, relationships, health, absolutely. I was kind of manifesting before I really knew what it was because I would visualize myself when I was really struggling, when I was just in bed and just exhausted, face full of acne, and I didn't really have anything else to do. My friends were out partying at the weekend and I was just chilling in bed, couldn't really do anything else. So I would just go off into my imagination and imagine myself in little scenarios and I would think about the future. I didn't know I was manifesting at that point. I didn't have a term for it, but it's crazy that so many of those visions that I had that just came to me, they actually came to fruition and they came true. And I didn't realize until I was living them. And I thought, oh yeah, I actually thought about this years ago at the start of my health journey and I'm living it now. And I didn't know how exactly it was going to come in, but that is the fun part. I really have learned to enjoy the unknown, which is crazy to think because me a few years ago was such a control freak and I hated surprises. And now I'm learning to just let go a little bit and just enjoy the ride of life. And it can be really, really exciting. And it's just a lot more fun. A really good book for this is The Surrender Experiment. That helped me to just understand from someone else's story. Michael J. Singer, I think, or something like that. Michael Singer. Yeah, The Surrender Experiment is a really good book, one of my favorites. It's kind of like his life story, but it just shows the power of following the nudges and trusting the universe. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode, the 3 steps to manifestation, and I will see you back here next week for another episode.